The Gnostic scriptures, often considered heretical by early Christian leaders, faced strong opposition, particularly at major councils like the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. At this council, the Church took deliberate steps to define what would become orthodox Christian doctrine, while simultaneously suppressing teachings it deemed to deviate from the accepted norms. As a result, many Gnostic texts were banned, their followers persecuted, and the profound ideas within these works were nearly lost to history. One of the most pivotal examples of the tension between Gnostic teachings and the early Church's orthodoxy comes from the Gospel of Mary. In a key moment, Peter, one of Jesus' most prominent disciples, openly questions the credibility of Mary Magdalene, asking, "Did he really speak privately with a woman and not openly to us? Are we to turn around and listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" Gospel of Mary 9:4-5. This moment is not just about skepticism toward Mary, but it reflects the broader societal and religious challenges surrounding gender, authority, and spiritual insight during that period. This particular scene unfolds during a time of profound uncertainty for Jesus' followers. With their leader crucified, the disciples are left scattered and shaken to their core. Their faith, once so firmly rooted in Jesus' physical presence and guidance, is now clouded with doubt and confusion. In the aftermath of the crucifixion, they gather in secrecy, searching for direction and meaning in a world that now feels precariously unsteady. Amidst this turmoil, Mary Magdalene, a figure often sidelined by traditional Christian narratives, steps into the forefront. Far from being merely a supporting character in the story of Jesus, Mary emerges in this moment as a figure of wisdom and clarity. Her significance is highlighted not only by her spiritual insight, but also by the confidence and authority with which she speaks, qualities that challenge the expectations of those around her, especially the male disciples. Peter, along with the other disciples, finds himself lost without Jesus' direct guidance. They are accustomed to looking to him for answers, and now, in his absence, they struggle to find a path forward. It is in the midst of this crisis that Mary offers something extraordinary, a revelation that will profoundly challenge their understanding of Jesus' teachings and the nature of their spiritual journey. Mary begins to recount teachings that Jesus had entrusted to her alone. Teachings that are not about rituals or adherence to external rules, but about something far deeper. She speaks of a journey of the soul, one that transcends the physical world and leads to true spiritual awakening. This journey, she explains, is an inward one, focused on self-knowledge, where true salvation is found. As Mary reveals the secret knowledge imparted to her by Jesus after his resurrection, the disciples listen with rapt attention. She speaks of the soul's struggle against the forces that seek to bind it to the material world. These forces, known as the seven powers, include darkness, desire, ignorance, jealousy, and arrogance, elements that are not merely abstract concepts but represent the very real challenges each person faces in their spiritual life. Mary's message is clear. To achieve spiritual ascension, the soul must confront and overcome each of these powers. However, this is not a battle fought with physical weapons or outward force. Mary emphasizes that the path to overcoming these forces lies in self-awareness, understanding, and shedding the illusions that keep individuals chained to the material world. The soul's journey, as she describes it, is not just about liberation from earthly suffering, but a journey toward recognizing the divine spark within each person, a core Gnostic belief that underscores the importance of inner knowledge. Peter's reaction to Mary's revelation is one of disbelief and resistance. How could Jesus, their revered master, have entrusted such profound teachings to a woman? This moment of doubt and skepticism is significant, as it highlights the broader tension between the traditional, patriarchal structures of early Christianity and the more egalitarian spiritual message that Gnostic texts like the Gospel of Mary seem to offer. Yet, despite Peter's challenge, Mary remains resolute. She stands firm, her voice unwavering, as she speaks with the conviction of someone who has seen beyond the physical world. She recounts her vision of Jesus, in which he praised her for her faith, saying, "Blessed are you for not wavering at the sight of me. Where the mind is, there is the treasure." Gospel of Mary 5:7-8. This declaration underscores the importance of mental clarity and inner vision in the Gnostic path to salvation. Mary's teachings offer a striking contrast to the more external, hierarchical approaches that were becoming entrenched in early Christian orthodoxy. Her message focuses on the internal journey of the soul, on self-discovery, and on the pursuit of gnosis, the Greek word for knowledge, which in Gnostic tradition refers to a deep, intuitive understanding of the divine. It is through this personal, inward knowledge that salvation is achieved, rather than through blind obedience to external authority or doctrine. This Gnostic emphasis on inner knowledge and personal spiritual experience represents a significant departure from the more institutionalized teachings of the early church. Gnosticism, as an ancient spiritual movement, challenges the traditional Christian worldview by asserting that the material realm is not only flawed but fundamentally corrupt. In this view, the material world is the creation of a lesser, malevolent being known as the demiurge, who traps the divine spark within each human soul in a physical body, binding it to a world filled with suffering and illusion. For Gnostics, the ultimate goal of life is not to achieve perfection within the material world, but to transcend it entirely. This radically alters the way one views existence on earth. Life is not a gift to be cherished in its material form, but a prison from which the soul must escape through spiritual awakening and self-knowledge. This idea runs in direct contrast to the teachings of Orthodox Christianity, which emphasize the sanctity of the material world and the resurrection of the body. The tension between Mary and Peter, as depicted in the Gospel of Mary, is not just a personal conflict between two followers of Jesus. It represents a deeper struggle over spiritual authority within the early Christian community. On one side is the more institutionalized patriarchal structure that would eventually dominate Christianity, and on the other, a more mystical, egalitarian vision of spiritual authority, where inner knowledge and personal experience of the divine supersede hierarchical leadership. In many ways, Mary's role within the Gnostic tradition, as highlighted by texts like the Gospel of Mary, challenges the patriarchal norms that were solidifying within the early church. Her prominence suggests that spiritual authority is not determined by gender, but by one's inner understanding and direct connection to the divine. This notion was revolutionary for its time, and it's no surprise that texts elevating Mary's role were marginalized and ultimately banned by the early Christian authorities. The teachings of Mary Magdalene, as preserved in Gnostic texts, also offer a profound critique of the developing Christian orthodoxy. While the early church emphasized obedience to established doctrine and external rituals, Mary's message is one of personal spiritual empowerment. She teaches that salvation is not something handed down by religious authorities, but something that can be achieved through self-knowledge and direct experience of the divine. The Gnostic worldview, which places a strong emphasis on personal spiritual awakening, is embodied in Mary's teachings about the soul's journey. As she describes the soul's ascent through the seven powers, she outlines a spiritual path that involves confronting and overcoming the forces of darkness, desire, ignorance, and arrogance, forces that represent not only obstacles in the material world, but also within the individual psyche. In overcoming these powers, the soul moves closer to its true divine nature, shedding the illusions of the material world and recognizing its connection to the higher, spiritual realm. This idea of spiritual transcendence, where the soul rises above the limitations of the material world, is a key theme in Gnostic thought and stands in stark contrast to the Orthodox Christian emphasis on the resurrection of the body and the sanctity of earthly existence. Mary's teachings, as revealed in the Gospel of Mary, invite us to reconsider the role of women in early Christianity and the nature of spiritual authority. Her message is not only revolutionary in its content, but also in its implications for the structure of the early Christian community. By presenting Mary as a central figure who received special knowledge from Jesus, the Gospel of Mary challenges the male-dominated hierarchy that would later define the church. This challenge to established authority is one of the reasons why Gnostic texts like the Gospel of Mary were suppressed and nearly lost to history. However, the discovery of the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945, which unearthed a wealth of Gnostic writings, including the Gospel of Mary, has allowed these voices to be heard once again. The rediscovery of Gnostic texts, including the Gospel of Mary, has sparked renewed interest in understanding the diversity of early Christian thought. These writings challenge the traditional narratives and invite modern readers to reflect on the nature of spiritual authority, the role of women, and the importance of personal spiritual experience. By focusing on self-knowledge and inner transformation, the Gnostic perspective offers a path that emphasizes personal responsibility in the journey toward enlightenment. It suggests that true spiritual growth is not dependent on adherence to institutional rules, but rather on a deep, introspective understanding of one's divine nature. As we reflect on Mary Magdalene's profound role in early Christian spirituality, her teachings serve as a reminder of the power of knowledge, faith, and the courage to stand firm in the face of opposition. Her message, preserved in Gnostic texts, continues to inspire and challenge us to explore the deeper mysteries of existence, urging us to seek the divine within ourselves. What do you think of Mary's role in the Gospel of Mary? How do these teachings resonate with your understanding of spiritual growth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.